Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun and exciting intermediate math class. Today we're going to be in lesson 5.5. That is on page number 194 in your books. That's where we'll be starting. And what we'll be doing today is talking about three-dimensional shapes. So far we've been talking about two-dimensional shapes, things like rectangles, squares, circles. But now today we're going to be talking about three-dimensional. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
I have a three-dimensional object. Now, it's not really three-dimensional, okay? It's got some dotted lines to kind of make it look three-dimensional. But if you will, this piece here, this is the top piece. All right, so there's that top. Now, what type of a shape is that? What type of shape is the top piece? Okay, all right, well, that is a pentagon, right? Five-sided. And then look at this front side right here. There's like a piece here in the front. And look, that is a rectangle. And so this is a rectangular pentagon. You're like, wait, what is that? Well, we'll get to the name of it in just a little bit here, but it is kind of a combination between a rectangle and a pentagon, and it forms a three-dimensional shape. All right, if you look right here, this is called the face. This blue section right over here is the face. Notice there's also another face right here. It's not colored in, but this front piece, this front rectangle here is actually another face. Notice there's a face over here, like right over on this right side. Then in the back area right here, there's a face back here. And then here in the back left, there's another face over here. Then notice on the top of the shape, this top part of the shape, there's another face. Now, this is a pentagon face, right? The first few faces, five faces that we talked about were rectangular faces. This top face is a five-sided face, where the other ones were four-sided. Now look here at the bottom. It's sitting on the base, right? Well, that's another face. And so there are two pentagon faces, one on top, one here on the bottom. And then there are five rectangular faces, face one, face two, face three, the back here, face four, and then the back left, face five. So five rectangular faces, and that's because each side of the pentagon has a face to it. And then there are two pentagonal shaped. So the top face and the bottom face. All right, now check this out. This is a vertex. Now, what is a vertex? Well, you should know what a vertex is. It's where two lines come together, or two angles meet. Notice that in this case, there are three angles that meet on the vertex of a three-dimensional shape. Let's call this, and let me kind of see if I can write on this to where that you can see it. This right here, this line, if you will, okay? It comes down, and that is, let's call this the height of the shape, okay? And then you have another face coming down this way. We could call that the width of the shape. Okay, that's how wide it is. All right, so where's the other dimension in this one? Well, the other dimension would be back here, and we could call this one the length. So you have a height going up, and then you have a length and a width. Okay, so those are the three dimensions of this shape, and if you'll notice, they come together at the vertex. All of the different dimensions, they meet at the vertex of the shape. Okay, and then you have here at each one of these sides, I was trying to get back to this right here, but this right here, this is called an edge. You can see here on the top where they write the word edge. The edge is basically kind of where the corner is. Like if you think of this as a box, it's like where the top, kind of joins to the side of the box. It's It's the angle that's made right there. The angles of these are edges. So how many edges does this one have? Well, it would have one edge, two, three, four, and then we could do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this shape has 15 edges, and different shapes will have different amount of edges. A cube has a certain number. This one with 5 sides has a certain number. So, but every shape, basically every three-dimensional shape, at least every one that's based on a square, rectangle, something like that. The ones that are based on circles don't have edges, but we'll talk about that in just a second. All right. The next thing that your book talks about is it talks about prisms. Prisms. Let me change the color on this background real quick because I think that you'll be able to see this one just a little bit better on the black background. Okay, so what I have here is I have a prism. Now this is probably rectangular. I didn't draw it to be a perfect square, but it could be a perfect square. If it's a perfect square, it's called a cube. This one might be rectangular though, because maybe this side here is a little bit longer than this side here, or maybe this side here is a little bit shorter, something like that. But maybe it's a perfect cube. Either way, it's a prism. And that's what you call these when they're rectangular based, when they have rectangles in them, they would be called prisms. So let's take a look at this one. Let's look at the edges on this one. So here's an edge right here. There's an edge along the top. There's an edge, and there's an edge. That's kind of like, and then this would be like the front face of the shape, right? Okay. And so there's 4 edges there. Here's the top face, all right? And then so the top face has an edge, an edge, an edge, right? And then you have edges all around the rest of it as well. All right, so those are the edges, the faces, and then here would be the vertex or the vertices of the shape. So every spot here where these angles kind of come in, that's going to form a vertex. So there'd be a vertex here, there'd be a vertex here, there's a vertex back here. So all of these corners basically are getting a vertex. The next thing that I want to show you is I want to just go through some different shapes. And these are not all of the shapes that you need to know. These are some of the shapes. There are literally hundreds of different, shapes, three-dimensional shapes, and they're all based on different things. And square pyramids, like when it's a square base, this would have 4 sides. So you'd have a side here, a side here, a side on this right side, and then kind of on this back side left here, you'd also have a side. This tetrahedron only has 3 sides. So you have one side here on the left, one side here kind of in the front, and then one side here in the back. There's only 3 sides to this. In other words, the base is a triangle in the tetrahedron. Square pyramid, like I said, that's going to be a square base. You don't need to know this one. The cube, that's one of the most important ones that you're ever going to learn right there. We're going to do a lot with the cube. We're going to cross-section the cube. We're going to learn formulas for the cube, all kinds of stuff. The sphere. The sphere is based on the circle. All right, basically this is a ball. All right, so it's a perfectly round ball, basketball, volleyball, the earth. All right, these are all ideas of what a sphere is. The triangular prism, we talked about the prisms. The prism is basically like the shape itself, and then it's got rectangles. So check out this rectangle right here, right? I guess I can draw on this so you can see it a little bit better. So here's a rectangle. This face right here, in a prism, all the faces are rectangular. Well, not all the faces, several of the faces. This one has 2 faces that are triangles, right? So it's a triangular prism. So there's your triangle, and then here's your rectangular face right there. All right, and then you don't need to know that next one. Here's a cylinder, very important. The cylinder is another one that we're going to learn a whole lot about. So you have a circle on top, a circle on the bottom, and then you have like a height involved with the cylinder, the hexagonal prism. In other words, you have a hexagon. What's a hexagon? 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can't really see those in the front because it's the same color, but there are 6 sides there. And then you would have, let me change the color. You would have a face that's a rectangle. So this is a rectangle. And then there's another rectangular face right next to it, another rectangular face here. So if it's 6-sided, then you would have 6 rectangular faces with that. This next one is my personal favorite, the torus. The torus is a donut. All right. I mean, everybody knows that, right? That is a donut. And it's my favorite, right? I love donuts. What can I say? But the torus is basically donut shaped. Maybe a ring is another way that you could signify or talk about what a torus is, a three-dimensional ring. But a donut, we'll go with that. And then the last one here is a cone. A cone is a circle here on the bottom, and then it kind of goes up like into a triangle to a point. And those are the three-dimensional shapes that I kind of wanted to mention here in this lesson. So let's go back to the GeoGebra real quick, okay? And let me show you this right here. This is what's called a net. And I think you're going to like this, and I think you're going to like to play with this. This is like unfolding the sides of your three-dimensional object. So this is totally laid out flat, but look what I can do. I can close it back up. So there's my cube, and notice I can unfold my cube, right? I can lay it flat. I can lay all of those rectangles, or all of, in this case, if it's a cube, all of those squares, I can lay them flat. Now check this out. That's one pattern. Now here's another pattern. It's going to do the same thing. It just folds up just a little bit differently. Here's another pattern. Here's pattern 3. Again, same thing, just folding up differently. And I can go through a whole bunch of different patterns, and you can see how each one of them work. Let's look at pattern 10, how it folds up. So everything kind of folds into place, and then boom, you've got your cube again.
All right, well, that's all I have for you. Hope you learned something in this lesson. Next lesson, we're going to be dealing with what's called surface area. So surface area is taking that shape, basically unfolding it, and then finding out how much area is in each one of the pieces of the shape. So again, hope you learned something in this lesson. If you missed anything, slide it back, watch it again. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.